we looking forward to take. But see, that's what Jesus came to earth for. To save the world. So, when Satan presented the world to him, Jesus had to hold that in and say, you know what, thou shalt worship the Lord thy only, and him only shall I serve. He had to do that. It was tough. Listen, Satan present the wonders, the beauty of the world to Jesus. And you believe he does the same thing to us. He present us. He say, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
You want to be popular in school, right? You want to have all the fame. Sin. Do wrong. Bully.
Smoke.
Have sex before
one
marriage.
more thing. Speaking of that temptation, right? You know, we actually gave him that in panoramic view again. He saw the actual thing before him. The real thing.
The real thing. And the thing about it is, Satan, but
there's another thing. He would ask him this question, but this earth is like one little speck of the universe. So, you really presented Jesus this world when Jesus could own this whole universe. And this world ain't gonna last long anyway, so it wouldn't really matter if you would give it to him.
And like he said, this world is a speck. There's thousands upon thousands of galaxies God could own, but he bring this tiny little world. Like not a quarter ain't much, but put it next to 1 cent. Would you pick the 1 cent over a quarter? That's like, it's something like that.
But
you wouldn't pick a 1 cent over a quarter. But the devil could bring this tiny little world and asking God to bow down to him for that. Like, I ain't trying. The devil don't own much. Well, he really don't own nothing.
But it wasn't Satan's place to be asking God that in the first place.
I'm saying that too, right? He don't own nothing. He can't tell God to bow down to him for nothing, right? But you can think of something better than this tiny planet. But it still wasn't gonna work.
I mean, see, that right there goes to show how much God loves us. You see, it was actually Jesus' purpose for coming here to save this little nothing of earth that we really have. That's it.
Right.
That's what he came here for.
I actually see one of the temptations why Satan tempted him to jump off, like basically to kill himself, because I can imagine how much stress Jesus was going through from the time he was born. Well, from the time he actually could understand, he was getting bullied from his siblings, bullied from people, bullied from priests. And when people are bullied nowadays, they kill themselves. So Satan was trying to tempt Jesus to kill himself by jumping off the cliff, and saying that the angels would catch them. And nowadays, I know when Satan tempting these children to kill themselves, he be telling them like, oh, they're gonna. That's why he made up this excuse that they might go to heaven because they killed themselves. Like they say, it's not worth it to live because it's just gonna continue on. But that isn't true. You shouldn't kill yourself because there's no way you could end up in heaven. If you kill yourself, you can't ask for forgiveness anymore.
And you said like before he could understand, people had it out for him.
Before he could understand.
Because when he was born, he had gone there, kill all the babies. He didn't even understand what death was and people trying to kill him.
Yeah, for sure, Jesus was under some serious stress. That's anxiety,
And if that was on a regular human, they would want to end it all right there.
Yeah.
You that's quick. And you ain't gonna feel the pain.
Talking about anxiety. I know he had to pray to get over social anxiety because I just feel I literally always just feel like I have such an anxiety because until I actually get to know you, I used to be so scared to talk to people or like actually to go there in public. But then I can imagine how Jesus felt and all these people wanted to kill him. Nobody is like plotting to kill me, and then I still feel kind of scared to actually go there.
Mhm.
So I can imagine all the things that he actually even had to pray to God to take away all these fears from him.
Wow.
But you
And
know what? I mean, he had to remember the sins of the world, weight of the sins of the world, right?
yeah,
He had to.
mhm.
You was gonna say.
I was gonna say something
Okay.
about that
Praise
too.
the Lord.
Okay. Yeah.
Like when he was going to the cross, that was like a temptation too. He didn't have to go on the cross to save us, but he did it just because he loved us, just to go on the cross, just to save us. But still, some people out there don't care, and he had the weight on the world on his shoulders for us.
Mhm.
He loved us so much. He didn't have to go on the cross. He didn't have to come down here, but he just did it for us.
For love.
But you know, that's not even the only. That's not the first time he suffered from that. You know, even that temptation in the wilderness, he had that weight of the sins of the world. You know,
Which
I've
one?
read that in the wilderness. Like they said, I can't give you the place, right?
I
But
mean, when he was
it
40 days
says-
and 40 nights.
yeah,
That's right now. After he was
baptized.
it says then Jesus was led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered.
Like you can't really see it in the Bible, but it's in the spirit of prophecy. She wrote that in the spirit of prophecy.
What she said.
I can't really find it right now, but she said he had the weight of the sins of the world, even in the wilderness too.
Wow, so that was a lot of pressure on him.
Yes,
And
she
fasting
said he
for
had
40
mental
days.
agony.
Mental agony.
That's why it says in the
Yeah.
Bible that every single sin that we go through now, Jesus has been through it.
Mhm.
You can't say you can't overcome it, because if Jesus overcame it and he was 100% man and spirit, though, he still man and God, but then he still overcame it, because it isn't like he was just God when he could just overcome it. He still had to pray to his heavenly Father
And
to
then
overcome.
if Jesus would have, if they would have somehow if Jesus would have make a schedule, when he was a child, and make a schedule, or when he growing up in for his ministry especially, if he would have come down and give us his schedule, I think it probably would have looked like this. Night prayer. Early in the morning, someone knocking on his door, healing, straight through. Because, he was the healer. And we know, even as Bahamians and even as humans, when we see persons who could heal, flock right over there. Someone say they could prophesy, they could tell us something, we flock right over there. Imagine if the person could raise someone from the dead. People traveling distances to meet him. So, heal, teach. Night. What happened now? Pray. All night prayer. When he get time to sleep. And plus he had the sins of the whole world upon him. I ain't saying that Jesus never sleep, But what I am saying that he was stressed right out.
Did
If that.
sacrifice his own life for us. Not like I'm not talking about the cross, but I mean, he sacrificed energy and time and all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
man. You can imagine Jesus was gonna go take a nap, and then, because remember when he's gonna do the feeding of 5,000, he didn't plan to do that, He actually went to Bethesda to go in the lonely, deserted, secluded place from the people, but then his heart was moved with compassion. You can imagine it's time for me to go to sleep. Someone knocking, you come heal me, or you give me whatever, but I going to sleep. It's time for me to sleep.
That's only love, man.
Move with
You
compassion.
you can't do things like that
Mm-hmm. And the
out
thing
of a
about
natural heart.
is, God calling us to that, where we are at a position that we deny self. Same thing when we talking about the great controversy between Christ and Satan. It's a constant struggle, because you can remember, there's no unity between righteousness and unrighteousness, between sin and godlikeness or godliness. So therefore, if I want to be godly, and I know like the Bible say, that which is in me is no good thing. And the Bible says in John chapter 14, verse 4, it says, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean thing? In other words, what the Bible is saying is, we are unclean things. In other words, we can't produce clean stuff. We can't produce a pure heart. That's why David said, you know what? Create in me a clean heart. So it's a constant struggle. It's a constant fight every day, because there's a controversy inside yourself. You saying, okay, God, my body, my flesh wants me to do wrong, but I want to do right. I mean, my body and flesh want me to do wrong, but I battling and fighting. It's a controversy inside her. I want to do right. I mean, I want to do wrong, but I know it is right. I want to do wrong, but I know that I have to be faithful to God. It's a controversy inside of us, even when we look at it.
Okay, we get that. Michael, say number 2 quick.
Oh, okay.
When did it begin?
When did the controversy begin? Okay, we could just quickly go to Revelation chapter 12 for this, since we're running out of time. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7 through 8.
And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
So that tells us that the war began in heaven.
And the thing about it is, it didn't just stay in heaven. It's happening now. Each one of us have to face this controversy. We have to ask. We are presented with a question, and the question is found in Joshua. I think this is our last text.
Yeah.
And then we can continue next time.
Yeah.
Joshua, chapter 24. They was presented with the same question.
Verse 15.
Verse 15.
Okay. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
And I say like Joshua, as for me and my house, I will serve the Lord.
And I just want to say one last thing before we end. Reading, to me, I don't know if it happened y'all, but reading the Great Controversy, it just makes you want to rededicate your whole life to Christ again, just like confess, like at least try to confess every sin that you have, because like seeing that you really don't want to be lost, and you don't want to be like mixed up and confused with Satan.
That's serious. You won't lie that. It's a really, even when I was reading the Great Controversy, and when I started to read, and just like the Bible say, boy, the way of the transgressor is hard. You know how much things Satan got to do just because he didn't obey.
Man, his suffering.
His suffering when it comes to
it's without measure. Remember, I mean, not without mixture. That's
the wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and God's wrath. I mean, even before we reach the God's wrath, man, the things that he have to do. I mean, he have to be up 24/7, just working and working and working and working. When he could have been in heaven, just praising God and obeying God. The way of the transgressor is truly hard, babe. And the thing about it is, even when we decide we could go against principle or we could do wrong, it's hard. You know how much stuff you have to do in order. You know how much things someone have to do before they actually kill someone. You know how much chances God gave them. The thing about it is, If we want to be lost,